I'm Audie Gonzalez, and this is While the Baby Sleeps. So last episode, I talked about a lot about everything that I was going through in that time period. This is about 3.5 months ago now. You guys can tell my bangs have grown out. My voice is a little bit less exhausted. So that's fun. Um, but this last point and the last episode I was at the top of the spiral, right? And when I was telling you guys, ask for help if you need it, ask for help if you need it, I was also telling myself. So I want to say, um, congratulations. You've asked for help. I've asked for help. Here we are. I had to let go of doing the podcast and I had to minimize so I could maximize my mental health and my family stability. Is it something that I wanted to do? No. Is it something that I had to do so we could survive? Yes. And that to me makes it okay. Um, so this summer, I want to give you a rundown of the summer so you can understand exactly why I was at the top of the spiral, where exactly I was headed, and see if this is similar to something that you've been through before. So this summer we had about 9 or 10 weekends of constant the craziest busiest summer I think I've ever had in my life. Constant events, something every single week, so it was a lot. We had outfits that we needed, we had places we needed to be, we had two planned trips, one unplanned trip. So many things happened over the summer, and that was on top of all of the business things I already had planned for the summer, which was getting new photos taken, rebranding my website, doing so many things. And starting a podcast. I was like, this is going to be such a fun little summer thing is to do the podcast. And you guys know that didn't happen, and that's okay. But I want to give you that picture of where we're at because I was at the top of the spiral. You guys could see it in the last episode, and I almost didn't post it because I was like, wow, I was just depleted. And you know what? Vulnerability, baby. I'm going to share it with you. You all have been there. It is what it is. And I was at the top of the spiral. And I am so glad that I asked for help. I'm so glad that I did swim to the side of the pool to take a break and to rest and relax. Because had I not, that spiral for me looks like not asking for help. And that spiral looks like a spiral of self doubt and resentment and frustration, which ends up in me being mad at my kids for being children. No tolerance for my husband or anybody who's not immediately on the same page with me. Um, it looks like so many negative things, just really negative reactions, angry reactions, that type of thing. And that's not the way I want to live life. That's not the summer I wanted to have. And so I am so grateful and I praise God that I was able to take that step back, that I recorded that podcast episode and I drilled that into my head over and over. That it's like, hey, step back, you're okay. Had I not stepped back, again, spiral at the bottom of the spiral is rock bottom for me. We get what does rock bottom look like? Rock bottom looks like overeating, over drinking, over desensitizing, meaning like too much Netflix, too much doom scrolling, too much everything that's just like trying to give me a dopamine hit. Um and there's phases and there's levels, but that's where I was headed, and that's not where I wanted to be because my husband and I we've made so much progress over these last few years, and I was like, gosh darn, like I don't have to, I don't have to do this, so I didn't. Um, so that being said, I want you to think about a time in your life in which you have had those moments, you've had that feeling, you've been in a season of high demand and lack of resources. And that's where we were. I had a babysitter up until the beginning of the summer, and then I didn't have that help anymore. Postpartum hormone shifts ran me over like a truck. I was not expecting that. And so there was a bunch of different outliers that all kind of like came up on me and it snuck up on me, right? And I, for a little bit there, felt I was like, if I ask for help and if I step back, then that means I'm admitting defeat and I have failed. And praise the Lord again for mindset work because I hadn't failed. You haven't failed. Asking for help is not a failure. Stepping back from a podcast you just started for 3 months isn't a failure. It might be inconvenient and not what you wanted to do, but it's not a failure. I want you to walk away from this podcast with the feeling that you can listen to your body, you can admit where you are, and you can do something about it. You don't have to run away from these feelings or these emotions or the fact that you might be feeling like a failure or you're going to fail. Um, what it looks like and reparations of this over the last 3 months is, like I said, it was a season of high demand, a season of high demand and a season of low resources. And so low resources for me, like not just like help, but also like sleep, like sleep, communication, conversations with my husband, like the slowing down of time to so we can make good food and make healthy choices. It was so so very minimal in a lot of different seasons. And so I knew that there were going to have to be sacrifices made. And so whenever you're in those moments of like the slowness of like there's not a lot going on, in the sense of I don't have enough time to cook every single day. I don't have enough time for this. I don't have enough time for that. All of that may be good and valid. And that was definitely the season that I was in. And so what we've done over the last 3 months is really kind of like wipe the slate clean because like I said, it sneaks up on you. It's not something that you're doing on purpose. It's not something that you're like actively trying to go and like sabotage yourself. Like that's not what's happening. But we do find ourselves in these places where we need help, and instead of asking for help, we do the spiral instead. So, what my husband and I did instead of the spiral is we like clear the slate. We're like, okay, what are the things that we absolutely need? And we listed those out. We were like, okay, we absolutely need to have good food of this level of quality in order for our bodies to function the way we want them to. We absolutely need to have X amount of sleep, X amount of time with each other, like X amount of time with the kids or at home or something. And so this is what we did. We created a baseline of these are the things that we need, and we made sure that we accomplished those things no matter what. Sometimes there were dishes piled up in the sink. Sometimes we were digging through laundry baskets for clothes. Sometimes the bathroom was covered in I don't even know what dirty water. Like we've got like towels all over the place, whatever it looked like. And all of that eventually got cleaned up. All of that eventually was taken care of, but we had to make sure that those basics were done. We had to make sure that our mental health was all right. We were spiritually still in alignment with God, doing what we needed to do. And we also needed to make sure that we were working on those problems. So if we weren't getting enough sleep, it's because the baby was waking up 5 to 6 times a night, which is crazy. But we had to revisit the sleep training course that we had taken and then implement that. And that was hard work, but it got to the point where I'm getting up with her maybe twice now, which is really good. The same thing with our very emotional three-nager, as I like to call her. We had to get to the point where we were able to have capacity to sit with those emotions and hold her there and not take things personal. And that takes a lot of internal work and a lot of time and a lot of regulating on our own so we could help her regulate. But so basically, the reason why I give you these things, this information, is because if we are stuck in a place of exhaustion, we are very likely not to ask for help. Like if we're stuck there. And like I mentioned in the last episode, sometimes we do the thing where we're drowning and we're drowning in front of everyone. And it would be really easy to like be like, hey, could somebody help me out? And somebody would come over and help you out of the pool, right? But we do the thing where we sit there and we drown until we're like flailing in the middle and like we make a giant scene and everybody has to come help us. And that's, regardless of how that happens, like that's not the way we really want to show up, right? That's not the way we want to be saved. That's not the way that we want to ask for help is out of desperation. And so I am so glad and I am so proud of myself and the work that I did that I was able to ask my husband for help. My husband and I were able to then ask for help in the places that we needed it. And even though it wasn't every single thing that we were able to like check off the list that we needed help with, we were still um, in our community, virtual and physical, asking for the bare minimum, and we were able to get to the point where now we're not at the bare minimum anymore, and it's so good, and it feels so good, and life feels so much lighter. I feel so much more happy and free, and I feel like I'm able to just hearing me talk is crazy because I'm like I can hear the difference. I I'm able to bless my clients the way I had been in a very in a much more calm and a much more fruitful way and beautiful way and nourishing way. And so yeah, I'm excited to be back. I'm very much looking forward to the next like few episodes that I have planned out for you guys. Um, and what I want to leave you with really is just remember to listen. Like don't run from those feelings because I wanted to. I like as I was filming that last podcast episode, I didn't want to talk about it. And like I said, I didn't even want to share it. I was like, I just want to pretend like that didn't exist. And that is so, like, I can't. We can't. Like, that was the. That was the truth of where we were, right? That is exactly what I was going through in life. And I am just so glad that I didn't run from those feelings and make everything fall apart the way I would have in the past. Um, don't run. Don't run. Just feel the feelings. Work through those feelings. Go check out my website that I rebranded. That's a giant story I'll tell you more about in the next episode. But go check it out, audiegonzalez.com. But yeah, I just happy to be back. See you in the next episode.